Hey guys, it's Troy. Welcome to another video. Longing is the most potent form of intoxication, closely followed by self-pity. That's a bit of a mouthful, but I will unpack it for you. Longing is the most potent form of intoxication, followed by self-pity. So, just thinking about a couple of clients that I'm working with at the moment, and here's the thing. Guys, and we've all fallen into this trap, will often believe that when somebody ends a relationship with you, so you're in the relationship and then the other person ends it, guys will often think that that is the first move in a negotiation, right? They will think, okay, that's what she said, that's her offer, I'm now going to counter offer. And when we think about the grieving process, the 5 stages of grief, one of those stages is bargaining. And guys very often, very quickly, go to the bargaining elements of that, okay? So guys will very often go straight from, oh damn, we've split up, she's dumped me, to, right, I'm now going to start bargaining and I'm going to see how I can pull her back. But what you have to understand is that, and look, maybe there are some cases that are a little bit different, but I mean, most of the time, when she's laid down, when she's given you the red card, when she has said, look, that's it, we are finished, that is not an invitation for you to counter offer. That's not an invitation for you to come back and say, well, what about this, what about that, how about if we change this, how about if we change that. She's already made that decision. She has already given you the red card, okay? She's probably already mentally moved on, if she hasn't moved on in other ways. So, it's often, and I do caveat this with often because no rule in dating is ever universally 100% true, but this is nearly 100% true. She will often have already closed the doors to anything else that you may have to offer. You've had your chance, and for whatever reason, she's chosen not to continue with you. But guys will keep themselves locked in this cycle of bargaining or attempting to bargain and attempting to reason their way out of it for weeks, for months, even for years. And it's incredibly damaging and it's incredibly corrosive to the person who is stuck in this mental loop. Because what you're really doing is keeping the flames of hope alive. What you should do, and it's easier for me to say than it is to put this into practice, but what you should do, obviously, is accept. You want to get to that point of acceptance as quickly as possible, because it's only by reaching that point of acceptance that you're able to box it off and to move on in whatever way that exists for you. So whether that's a new relationship or being single but being happy at being single or content being single or whatever, you know, it's only by reaching a point of acceptance that you're going to be able to get to the point of moving on. And it's understandable, it's human nature that when you lose something of value or something that you perceive to be of value, you want to try and hang on to it, you want to try and pull it back. But what that often actually translates into is not you getting the thing back, it's not you getting the relationship back or getting her back. What it often translates into is that you don't get her back, but she gives you just enough leverage that it kind of keeps the flame of hope alive, and it keeps you in this state of perpetual longing. And the difficulty with that is that longing, as I said, becomes a kind of a drug. It becomes a kind of narcotic in itself, which is no good for anybody, because that feeling of yearning, that feeling of wanting something to happen, and your whole day, days, weeks, months, years being consumed with that feeling of, if only I do this, if only I do that, maybe next time when I send that message, maybe if I just send the right kind of message at the right time, she's suddenly going to see the light and she's going to turn around and everything's going to change. That feeling of longing is incredibly insidious, and it creates like a wormhole in our brain, and it sticks with us, and it keeps us stuck, it keeps us trapped. And we do this to ourselves. We do this to ourselves because we refuse to face up to reality, right? We refuse to accept the reality of the situation. And as I said, I mean, we do that for very obvious, very human reasons, because if there's something of value that you had and then you lose it, then of course you're going to want to try and pull it back. Of course you're going to want to try and reclaim it as yours. But sometimes, most times, you just have to give up the struggle. You just have to surrender to what is reality. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's the serenity prayer that gets used in 12-step programs, AA meetings, NA meetings, CA meetings, whatever, all over the world, every day, okay? Incredibly powerful. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, courage to change the things I can, all right? So you need courage. If there are things that you can change in a situation, great, change them. Maybe you've learned something, maybe you would act differently next time. Okay, change that about yourself. But you've also got to have that wisdom, okay? You've got to have that wisdom to know the difference between, is this something that I can change or is it not? Is it just something that I have to accept? And a lot of the time, once she's closed the door on you, once that red card has been awarded in the game of dating, in the game of life, you have to stop. At some point you have to stop and you have to pull back, because otherwise you're going to get caught in that cycle of longing. And I mentioned self-pity as well, and self-pity operates in a very similar way in that it is addictive. We actually quite like sitting down and wallowing and ruminating in our despondency, in our despair. It's painful, it can be incredibly painful, but it's also oddly comforting at the same time. And as I say, in one 12-step program, they talk about living a life half unlived. And that's what you could end up doing. You know, you can end up giving so much of your mental bandwidth away to this thing, this wild hope, this longing for something that's never really going to materialize, that you end up not actually experiencing the life that's right in front of you. You end up not actually experiencing what's happening in your reality right now. And whether that translates to other dating opportunities, or it translates into other life opportunities, or just enjoying the richness of our very brief existence on this planet, doesn't really matter. You're missing it because you're stuck in mental looping, okay? So you need to break it. You need to get out of it. You need to treat it like you would any other addiction, not feed it, okay? That's the first thing. Don't feed the beast, because it's so easy to feed the beast. And you want to feed the beast, right? I mean, but this is obvious, right? A cocaine addict who gives up cocaine wants just one more hit. But you can't take just one more hit, because when you take just one more hit, it reinvigorates, it reawakens the whole addiction once over again. And it's the same thing with a former relationship. It's the same thing with somebody that you hope to get intimate with and you don't, right? At some point, you have to accept, okay, this is no go. I've tried everything, I've said everything that needs to be said, and now I have to drop it. Now I have to forget about it, okay? So, probably not what you want to hear. It'll make sense to some of you, maybe it won't make sense, but if you've been in this position, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I hope you enjoyed the video. So please subscribe to my Substack, the link is below, dropping regular pieces of writing and essays there for more in-depth content. Do like and give me a thumbs up and give me a comment and share this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.